I'm joined here today by the one and only Pannie Kianzad, who's set to fight here real soon at UFC Moscow in a big rematch against Jessica Rose Clark. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Yeah.
Of course, so we know we're getting real close to the fight at this point. What's your camp kind of look like? Are you starting to focus on your weight cut? How's the camp looking?
Um, I mean, my camps are usually, it's pretty brutal to be honest. It's a lot of sessions and it's specific and, it's day in, day out. I have 1 or 2 days off a week, usually Sundays on my free days. Um, and, the weight cutting, it's actually like handling itself. I'm not really struggling at all. Um, I don't even have 10 pounds to cut right from now. So I'm doing pretty good. But, I can't lie. It's pretty hard right now. And this is my last hard week. So I'm just hanging in there.
Why is that hard, like you mentioned? Is it just because you're working a lot? Are you starting to feel the effects on your body? What's sort of going on right now?
Um, just that I feel like a bruise,
Yeah.
is I feel, you feel like you're getting beat up like every day, but it's actually you just doing your job. And, I'm just, this is the last week of hard training. This is what I usually feel. So it's nothing different for me. This is just how it always is. So.
And we know this fight's taking place at 135, and you did compete, of course, in the Ultimate Fighter at 145. When did you decide to switch back down to 135? Was that always the plan after the Ultimate Fighter?
Actually not. I know people thought that about us, all us girls that were in 145 for tough, that we will like automatically go back to 135. But I actually didn't think about that. I thought of staying at 145 and maybe doing both or something like that. Because they were building the 145 division. I was like, yeah, fuck, let's don't knock our weight. Let's
Yeah.
just fight a natural weight, like like people always complain about, oh, why do you cut weight then, and but the thing is that then all these girls that were either they were pissed that we were on the show, pissed that we got publicity, or just people didn't talk about them for like 2 months. They were just like, well, you're not an actual 145er. I'm like, first of all, I decide what weight I'm going to compete at.
Right.
Nobody can tell me I'm a natural I could make 125 today if I wanted to, but I don't want to,
Yeah.
you know. I can make any weight class. That's no problem. But I don't need anybody telling me that I'm not a natural 145 or 135er. I decide what weight class I want to go in. You don't tell like Cerrone that he cannot fight 155 or
Right.
170. You're not a natural 155er. So that's what kind of pissed me off a bit. But then I got cut, kind of let go after the finals, and I actually took a fight in catch weight. Um, just it was just a circumstance. It wasn't just like something I planned. I was walking pretty light, and I took a fight in 140 pounds, and then the opportunity came for me to get back in the UFC for 135, and I was in great shape, so I took the fight.
And how do you look back at your experience on The Ultimate Fighter? Because we know it's unique. You don't get your phone. I think you're barely allowed to read books or anything. It's just kind of training and focusing on fighting. How do you look back at that whole experience?
Uh, I mean, if you can handle fighting in the tough house without people and coaches and friends and phones and your loved ones, then I think you can actually fight. Because that was the thing I was the most scared of. If I could perform under the lights, and I could. Wow, but it took a lot of mental, yeah, thinking. It was emotional, absolutely, because I could feel like walking into my first fight against Katarina. It was pretty emotional for me, and last fight we were so drained. We were like so tired after all the training because they were pushing us really hard during those 6 weeks. Trained like 5 hours a day and barely any recovery. So in the last fight, it was pure will and heart. I was so beat, but we did it, and I'm actually pretty shocked. Not that I made it to the finals, but that I could keep my emotions under control. You know.
All right, for sure, it's definitely a unique experience. Let's talk about this fight that's coming up, though. You're rematching Jessica Rose Clark. How did this fight come together? Did she ask for the rematch? Is that something you asked for? Did they just come to you and you just accepted?
Mm, my manager called me and I said yes, and then McMahon just set it up. That was it. I think I got the question first, what I heard, but I said yes, let's do it, and then she accepted. I think so. Yeah. I mean, I don't. I love this rematch. I really do, because I loved our first fight, and that was actually my first fight ever for Invicta, and first fight in the States.
Yeah.
So I broke through. Like, I think people started noticing me after that fight, and because it was International Fight Week, and both of us were really upcoming, and I love that fight, everything about it. And I remember just it was really tough, and but I'm not thinking about for this fight. I'm not thinking about I won the first fight. I'm not even thinking about that. This is a whole new fight for me. She's better, and I'm way better today after 4 years. So for me, this is a brand new fight.
And of course, you do mention the brand new fight. Is there anything you can kind of take from the last fight that'll help you, or do you think it's just completely different? Like you just don't even want to rewatch it at this point?
I watched it. I watched first our fight, and then I watched her last fight. That's it. And I'm taking stuff from that fight, of course. You still have to think. You got the win somehow. So, but I have a much better game right now, and I'm definitely smarter. I took a lot of damage to my body against Jesse, because I'm just like, when you just think you're just being too tough, instead of thinking smart and not taking too much damage. So I am definitely changing things up, but I mean, I'm prepared for the best ever Jesse. So that's what I've been working hard for.
And I believe this fight is going to be your second time fighting in Russia. Does that mean anything to you, fighting in Russia, like a chance to go visit a different country, or is it just that's where the fight's happening for you?
Um, I actually asked to fight in Russia. I
Oh,
asked to
okay.
be on the Moscow card, just because being in UC is a great accomplishment, of course. So uh, this is my second time fighting in Russia, and I asked to fight on the Russian card because, being in UFC is an accomplishment, but it's also a platform for me to fight in Europe, which I really love fighting in Europe. I've been fighting in the States for a long time now, and even though like the time thing and traveling doesn't affect me anymore, I'm getting used to it. It's just I want to take advantage. If I can't fight in Europe, then I really want to.
And I assume your goal is really to be able to fight at a UFC event in Sweden. I mean, we know they were in Denmark not too long ago. I assume the goal is to eventually fight in Sweden.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's always nice to be home, but either way, wherever it is, it's still the same. You know, and the reason why I didn't want to be in Copenhagen is just that I would love to fight in Copenhagen. It wasn't that. It's just that I wanted more time. I wanted more time to work on my stuff. I want to get stronger. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not going anywhere.
All right.
So that's why I'm like. I'm not in a hurry, and I really want to get better, so I wanted to wait a bit.
And so one thing I am curious about is after the Ultimate Fighter, obviously, like you mentioned, the UFC that let you go, you took a fight, you end up back in the UFC. How did that happen? How did you get back in the UFC? Is that your management pulling some strings? I mean, how did that kind of come together?
Timing. I told them, even though I was pissed, but I told them,
Yeah.
I will be ready. I am ready, you know? So guess who they called after fucking nagging? They said you were ready. They needed somebody, and somebody is always getting injured.
Yeah.
So if people, like, my advice to fighters that are really waiting and they think, I should be in the UFC, I have a great record, I'm a great fighter, don't be fucking lazy. And that was something I was not. I was not lazy. I fought. I took a fight on 3 weeks notice, and then just a few weeks after, I got the call, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. You know.
So what's that feeling like when you're trying to get back into UFC? Is there a point where you're kind of worried that, this might be, I don't want to say the end of your career, but kind of the end of the time with the UFC and you kind of have to look elsewhere? I mean, what's kind of going on mentally at that point?
At that moment, when I got cut for a while, I wouldn't say that I was, feeling like depressed or anything, but I was starting to feel, on that path. And I was questioning if I should continue fighting, because this is my 15th year of fighting.
Yeah.
I've done my first ever combat fight when I was 13. So this is my 15th year. And I was like, well, if not now,
Yeah.
I know I am on the UC level, and why am I getting cut? Why am I getting let go? And then I was starting to question, stuff. But then I took a fight in Sweden, like a local fight, on a big promotion anyway. And I wanted to see if I still loved it, even though if it wasn't UC. And I did. I really did. It didn't matter if I won or lost. Either way, I still loved it. That's why I continued.
And so last time we saw you in the cage, like you mentioned, you took the fight, I believe it was 3 weeks notice. What do you kind of take away from that experience? Unfortunately, the fight didn't go your way, but I assume you took a lot of positives and it helped yourself improve your game.
Yeah, when you're in there and you're like, fuck, okay, I'm not going to win. But let's just make it exciting. Just make something out of it. I'm not here for nothing. So I knew it was a risky thing to do, 2 weeks compared to 3 months at her camp, but that's nothing you can, you just have to go for it. It's a 50-50 chance.
For sure. And getting back to this fight with Jessica Rose Clark, you guys did have the first fight. Do you think the second fight is going to be anything like the first, or is it going to be completely different because both of you have completely kind of changed your games in those 4 years?
I think it's still going to be really competitive like it was last time. Even though that I won all the rounds, I thought it was really competitive. I need to watch out every second. And I think it's going to be the same thing, when it comes to, I think about all the how is the fight going to be and stuff like that. But, you never know. You really don't know. And I'm just ready for the best version of her, and I think it's going to be, even more exciting than last time. A lot of people loved that fight, and we are way better now. And I'm going in there to win. That's it.
For sure. I have just one more for you, because I believe you do have a client waiting for you. But how do you see? Of course, how do you see this fight playing out? I assume you see yourself winning. I would hope that you do, but how do you see yourself winning this fight?
I can never predict that. You can never say, oh, I'm going to win by knockout or submission. But I'm always preparing myself for 3 hard rounds. 3 of the hardest rounds of my life. And I can't say, and I really don't believe fighters saying this is how it's going to end, because you never know. It's it's MMA. Anything can happen. So. Yeah, I'm just ready to put on a show. Yeah. I'm letting it all in the cage, so it'll be awesome.
For sure, we are looking forward to it. It's going to be a great fight. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling me, and sorry for cutting off a bit.